Come on in the room. Come on in the room. The Bucks beat the Minnesota Timberwolves the other night, 110-103, despite being down 24 points in the fourth quarter. And again, it's so nice. We got to do it twice. Just thinking about this thing. Come on in the room. Scream City Crossover, Grooch Cross Dirt.
Chris King.
Justin.
We had some technical difficulties when we did the live show, but I mean this win was so nice. We have to get everybody's thoughts on this one. I mean it was scintillating. I don't know how to explain it. When you come back, I'll tell you, I watched it back again. That's how good I thought that fourth quarter was. You had so many things that went right. You had the return of Bobby Portis. You had Kevin Porter Jr.'s fourth quarter, which was insane. You had Giannis, who was insane the entire night. You had the starting lineup. The entire starting lineup outside of Giannis benched in the fourth quarter. Giannis comes back in early. Giannis is unlocked at the 5. And, I mean, basically all hell broke loose in that basketball game for the Milwaukee Bucks to win in the fourth quarter. I gave a lot of thoughts on it during the live show. I'm curious as to what you guys felt about that. And, again, it's the best win of the year. There's no doubt about it. And I guess I can start. Was this more of the Milwaukee Bucks taking it to the Minnesota Timberwolves in the fourth quarter, although they did beat them right before the All-Star break? Was it more of that, or was this more about the Minnesota Timberwolves having an all-out collapse late into the game to lose that basketball game?
Well, I think it's all about the Bucks. This win was all about the Bucks for me because what happened in that fourth quarter was when you switched it to zone and you saw so many forced, quick shots that the Timberwolves took, allowed the Bucks to claw back into this basketball game. There's a couple of plays, and just like you, Trey, I watched this thing over maybe 2-3 times and was just kind of watching, and there are maybe two plays that I really want to highlight specifically that I think sparked this comeback outside of the just tremendous play from KPJ and everybody else that closed that basketball game. It is the KPJ drive on Dante DiVincenzo where he throws down a dunk that is really electric, something that you really don't see out of a Bucks point guard ever if you're watching in the Giannis era. And I think that kind of sparked the Bucks to come back. And then outside of that, I would say obviously the A.J. Green big three from about 33 feet out. Like that is a huge – both of those were huge momentum swingers, and I think it gave the Bucks some life. And not only just those plays, I think the play of Bobby Portis last night throughout that stretch, I think that also willed them to victory. I think Bobby was huge, knocking down shots. Him and KPJ in that two-man. Look, I said this before Bobby came back. Bobby has probably had that experience in practice, but we just hadn't seen it yet. And then once it was rolled out there by Doc and Giannis was okay with it for KPJ and Bobby to work in that two-man game, pick and roll, it was nice. It was nice. Bobby, I know he didn't shoot like crazy from three, but the looks that he was getting were good. And then he had the big one to knock it down late in that fourth quarter as well. So I was just I was impressed as all get out, because if you would have asked me down 24, I thought they would have packed it in. I thought they would have been done. But slowly but surely it was on Doc Rivers with that zone, and then just playmaking down the stretch was huge from KPJ, Giannis, everybody involved. Gary Trent Jr. was another big play. They were down 24 points. He hits a 4-point play that made it at least seem like it wasn't completely out of reach, and then they went on from there. So I was just super happy with the win. Felt like a playoff environment. Fiserv was nice. Fiserv was popping. The crowd, you could really hear it. And I think that's what we're going to need. I think these guys fed off of that, and hopefully they're ready. I mean, 5 games straight to basically lock up that 5 seed almost. Like that's a dream of what, when you ask that question, Trey, about should they just try to get this 5 seed or should they just mail it in and go 6 seed and rest Giannis? Well, they're going to be able to rest Giannis possibly and get that 5 seed.
Man, that's a lot of good stuff, man. Y'all know what I had on yesterday?
What's that?
I had this mug on right here. Is it Bob? Yo, I'm still hyped. Like, it's people up here. They talking about, oh, this dude, that dude. Yo, we just had the best win in the Doc Rivers tenure as a Milwaukee Bucks coach. And we as Buck fans, our naked Nancy friends on Twitter and stuff, y'all gonna get upset. Y'all gonna talk about this. Y'all gonna talk about that. Chris King talked about the zone. The zone is so impactful because Gary Trent Jr. and KPJ at the top of that zone are so aggressive, and they make it so tough to bring the ball up the court. That's kind of what Doc talked about last night. KPJ is a man, and all you people that are talking about, oh, we still on this Kuzma stuff, KPJ isn't here if we don't do the Middleton trade. He's not here. So you can't say you like KPJ, but you want to keep Middleton. It doesn't work like that anymore. Last night, oh my gosh, I'm surprised I'm not kicked out this hotel room. I'm yelling, I'm jumping, my old ass hitting backflips off the bed. It's probably a half somersault, but we're gonna we for the streets, we're gonna call it a backflip though. For the homies that flip on the mattresses in the mill, right? Yo, everything that could have happened perfectly. I thought Bobby forced it a little bit when he came in, but I think that's normal when you come in with your jitters, right? I mean, I'm sure when Luka gets out there tonight, he's going to force it a little bit. Guys are going to force it. But if this was a Doc Rivers masterpiece, he saw an opportunity. He didn't go and he didn't try to insert this guy or do that. He made the right moves. And ladies and gentlemen, I can't remember the last time the Bucks came back in a quarter like this. And, you asked the original question, was it Minnesota? I think Minnesota was forced into those bad shots by the great perimeter defense that our guards played last night. And, hey, we about to get real scary as we get closer to these playoffs.
You talk about the top end of that zone. I'm talking about the bottom portion of that zone because, again, you think about a zone defense, it's very hard to rebound. The Bucks have had problems rebounding defensively. You talk about Bobby Portis. One thing he did, he was going after. He didn't have any pregame jitters or jitters about going after rebounds, getting to the basketball. And, again, when you're in that zone, that's one of the problem spots is having to making sure you're able to box out because you're undermanned in when you don't have the position to get those boards. Bobby Portis was a huge asset just coming back from rebounds alone. He was second on the team rebounding the other night behind Giannis. So again, it was just a lot of really good. And again, you talk about being down 24, you talk about the intensity in 5-serve. I think that's a direct result of Bobby Portis coming back and being back and getting himself inserted into that thing. And then Kevin Porter Jr., I mean, the play was outstanding. I said it on the post game. I don't know that Damian Lillard could do that. Like in the manner in which Kevin Porter Jr. did it, I don't know that Damian Lillard could do it. So again, this just gives you a lot of hope that if you can get Damian Lillard back, that you have something cooking. And I do, before I want to keep going this, I want to ask you guys about, you talked about Doc Rivers and the lineups and how he shifts and takes the backups and brings them to start, not say starts, but he closes the game with the backups and Giannis into it and Giannis at the 5. That's something that we haven't seen a lot of throughout the year. Giannis going to the 5, that being what you can unleash. And again, you talked about the Kuzma and I really think Giannis at the 5 has always been the Bucks' optimal line. It's happened in the finals, happened in the playoffs in 2020. That's what you rolled to a championship at key and opportune times. I want to see more of that. I think you will see more of that in the playoffs. Again, I just ask, what optimal lineups do you want to see? Because you talk about Brook Lopez, talking about Kuzma, but Taurean Prince is on that bench too, who is starting most. I won't talk about Rollins much, but he's been part of that starting group for a lot of the year as well. What do you do if you're Doc Rivers? There's a couple games left. I mean, you may be in a position where you're resting guys in Detroit. Do you try to run out a lineup against the Pelicans? Giannis right now is probable to play. Do you try to run out a lineup that you may start the playoffs with? Do you roll what you got? What are you doing as Doc Rivers here as the end of the season approaches and into the playoffs?
Well, to me, I really like the synergy that KPJ and Gary Trent Jr. show when they're on the court. I think I agree with you, Justin, in the sense that the top of that zone was phenomenal. Those guys just very active. I think it's awesome to have an option both ways at your point guard, your shooting guard, and then maybe even if Damian Lillard comes back, those three could run out there, and you could go Kuz or Bobby at the 4, and then Giannis at the 5, or maybe Brook and Giannis 4-5 type thing where you're playing small at the guard through small forward position, but then 4-5 you're getting into normal size. So I think that's what I'm looking for, is at least have KPJ and Gary Trent Jr. They should be starting to me. I think it's been more clear as ever to me that they are starters in this league and on this basketball team. than it has been all season, because I think, Taurean Prince, I just think he has trouble staying in front of the smaller guards or some of the smaller wings that he's being put out there to defend. And yeah, I think it's just kind of interchangeable when it goes to 4 and 5, whether that be, Giannis, Bobby, Kuz, Giannis, but obviously you're going to have Giannis out there, so that's interchangeable. It's just about who gives you the best shot at a very just a good defensive lineup. I want to have that kind of defense out there, but also when you have Giannis on the floor, when you have a KPJ and a Gary Trent Jr., that gives you a lot of offensive spark as well. Allows them to run in transition with Giannis as well. And I think that's been it was something yesterday in the post game that Giannis actually, praised, because it's guys that can run with him as well and create their own pace in the game transition wise. So yeah, I'd say KPJ, GTJ got to start for me. Maybe try that out against the Pelicans.
And don't forget Jericho Sims coming back too.
Right.
Another interchangeable.
I'm not opposed to any of the starting lineup changes. At first and earlier on in the season, I felt like TP kind of struggled coming off the bench. However, now it just seems like right now he's in a funk. And thank God Derry Bird got out of that funk. But TP is struggling right now, offensively and defensively. He's not hitting the open shots. He's a lot of turnovers on the pick and roll. Like, we got to kind of lock this stuff in, man. Like, we're on a playoff push now. And I think what I saw last night gives me a lot of excitement going into this playoffs. But I'm gonna go KPJ, Ryan Rollins still interchangeably, either one. Both give you great defense either way you go. So I don't think you go wrong either way. Got to go Gary Trent Jr. at that too. 3 ball, I'm gonna go Giannis. 4, I'm gonna go Bobby. 5, I'm gonna go Brooke. But for me, it's never about who starts. It's always about who finishes. Cause hey man, what they tell you on sales? What they tell you on sales? Coffee's for what?
I don't know.
Closers.
Closers.
And them boys was closing last night. Them 5 we had on the floor. One thing I forgot to mention, because I was so excited throwing my Bobby Portis shirt up in there. Those Minnesota fans traveled last night. I don't know if you heard that. I was listening to a lot of Dave Kane on the radio. Those first 3 quarters, you could hear those jokers. 4th quarter, we couldn't hear them no more. Get on back across that Mississippi.
And you shouldn't hear him in the Fiserv. So again, it was just an impressive night for the Milwaukee Bucks. There's no way around it. And again, just shows you the swings from, you talk about Minnesota fans, swings from the Bucks fans, where on one side of things, it's, oh my God, it's over, season's over, fire Doc immediately, especially on the heels of Mike Malone being fired. And then the next thing you know, it's, KPJ's the savior and everything is all great. So that's where we are. Last question I asked you before we get up out of here. And again, it just you're riding this high right now. Justin, you mentioned it, talking about you feeling good going to the playoffs. Does any of this, you won 5 in a row. I'm gonna say they're gonna beat the Pelicans. Next time we talk, they're gonna beat the Pelicans. Well, post game then. But you won 5 in a row. You got the Pelicans coming up. You will likely won 6 in a row. We'll figure out what happens with Detroit. Is this momentum going into the playoffs? And again, I understand some of the opponents. Some people say, well, the opponents were bad. But do you see this as momentum? And do you feel like, especially if it's Indiana, do you feel like you can get out of the first round without Damian Lillard? His status still up in the air and up for question.
100%. I think it's momentum. I think that's partially due to Doc, taking off the leash of KPJ. I think that was something that I kind of, when I was talking before this 5-game streak and said, I don't know if this team could really do it in a first-round series without Dame. Partially that was because KPJ and Rollins were basically a tryout for who's going to be that starting point guard if Dame is out. And there were a lot of times where KPJ's going 12 minutes in a game, 16 minutes in a game. And now after that Heat game, he gets unleashed. He goes 40 minutes versus the Heat. He goes 30-some yesterday. Like, now I'm seeing a different team. And also with the addition of Bobby Portis, I'm seeing a team that is connected. I'm seeing a team that obviously didn't let the Bobby suspension mess up too much chemistry, because they went in there and obviously he practiced with them. So you would think that's just kind of like he's been playing with them this whole suspension, and that's what it looked like. And so I think it's in AJ Green, the emergence of him, the reemergence of him, knocking down big shots, big time shots late in games. Like, I have to be moved after this 5-game win streak. I just do. I'm not going to say that I think this team, if without Damian Lillard, can get all the way to the finals, but I'm also not going to count him out against Indiana in the first round with the way KPJ has been playing and the minutes and the key to the offense that he's gotten.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you something, man. If these Milwaukee Bucks play like they did in that fourth quarter, I'm going to go ahead and say it. They can go to the finals without Damian Lillard if KPJ and if Ryan Rollins play at this high level. Like, KPJ is out of his mind right now. Y'all want a hot take? Here you go. I sent in the group text. KPJ, future NBA All-Star for your Milwaukee Bucks. That kid, he is so phenomenal. It's just so many things he does well. And you can talk about why he's here. I just really believe that was divine intervention why he came back to the Milwaukee Bucks. I don't know if it was Zabe and them guys in the morning, but someone said when AJ Green hit that first 3 to put us down 3, he shot that joint from Summerfest. Like, that's a 30-footer. If AJ Green shoot that rock like that, now we got a lot of energy from Bobby coming back last night, right? Oh, baby. Wait till Damian comes back. Wait till Jericho comes back. The energy's going to be high. We need all you Bucks fans to bring them naked. Like, if you want to root for the Bucks, you want to hope they lose, you want to hope Middleton, blah, 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 all that stupid stuff, that's okay. Whatever you've been doing, because I'm superstitious, you keep doing that. Me, I'm going to keep being delusional, keep rooting for these boys, because I don't know nothing else. I done seen of our lowest of the lows. But I think we're in a good spot right now. And a certain Hall of Famer that you brothers interviewed said Doc Rivers was a good basketball coach. Everyone laughed at him, talked about how he should have his Hall of Fame jacket taken off. I think he showed that last night. He makes those adjustments. A bad coach pulls a guy here or there and maybe inserts Splash Mountain back in the game and ain't nothing splashing. And we getting beat on the D. He left that lineup in there and he left them boys to cook when they were cooking. And I think that is a player's coach. I think he has KPJ playing the best he's ever played in his career because he's had spurts where he's done good things, but now he's getting a lot more consistent. Ryan Rollins playing better basketball. Bobby Portis playing better basketball than the last time we saw him. Kyle Kuzma, hey, we got a little bit of work to do, but you know one thing, and this is what I'm going to close on. I feel excited about this playoffs. I think we're gonna beat the heck out of them stupid Pacers and whoever next, hey, check ball. But I'm going to say this about Kyle Kuzma. His worst days are better than sitting on the bench in street clothes. He got 10 points last night. He sucked.
Yeah, no, I agree. Again, I just we get la-la land when people are saying that not playing is now better than playing. I don't believe in. But what I will say is, again, and this is not to throw any type of shade at anybody else, because again, I preface by saying I like AJ Johnson. I really do. I really hope he becomes whatever he can be, the best of his ability. I want to see it. It was not going. The issue is, number one, it was not going to happen in Milwaukee. And, you know, I'm glad he's getting an opportunity. But Kevin Porter Jr., that's a guy who right now is doing all the things that we talk about. Oh, we left AJ Johnson. We don't have him anymore. This is a guy who's doing it. And he's not just showing you potential on a bad basketball team. He's doing it and providing winning basketball for a team who's winning and beating teams like the Minnesota Timberwolves and trying to get you to advance as you head into the playoffs. This is big-time stuff. There's no question about it. The Milwaukee Bucks with a big win over the Minnesota Timberwolves. People ask questions about the Bucks. What are the Bucks going to be? Well, that was a statement game the other night, and they showed it 100%. We'll be back with all the time with all the best Milwaukee Bucks content. This has been a Cream City Media Group production from the Grouch Third.
Chris King.
Justin.
If I am enemy, it's only because I dare to tell you the truth. Don't take no wood nickels. Courage.